From Greater Sandton and beyond, get ready for the Sandton Times Hour.
With your host,
Alexander.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. This is the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. I'm Alexander Leibner, or as Anonymous put it on Facebook last week, Mr. Personality. Well, bless you, sunshine. And talking about sunshine, it is edition 128, week 34 of 2023, and it's still August, but it feels like things are getting warmer. It feels like summer and spring are creeping in, and I couldn't be happier. I'm excited to be with you once again for this hour, and if you would like to send through your questions, your comments, your feedback, you can do so using editor at sandtontimes.co.za if you want to send an email or connect on social media at Sandton Times or visit the website sandtontimes.co.za. And if you're listening live on Mix 93.8 and not on the podcast, well, the WhatsApp line is open on 084 822 0938. And apart from the person who asked about running a competition last week, we got some fascinating feedback from an array of listeners based on our discussion around the movie Sound of Freedom, including D, who wrote a message and said, I don't think I'd be able to watch the film, not because I don't think it's well done or important, but because the reality upsets me. I do hope others are able to go and watch it. And if you did go and watch it, I'd love to hear if you did see it and what your thoughts were on it. Then Dirk sent through a message as well. He said, how is it possible that child slavery is at its highest in the history of mankind? That's beyond bizarre and incomprehensible. And I think the general message sense went along those lines, and I'm glad to see that you listened and you interacted and you sent through those messages. A special welcome to everyone listening in Johannesburg and Pretoria, across South Africa, or wherever you are in the world, online or on air. I'm happy to report that all is well in Sandton land. And once again, Vincenzo is behind the mixing desk. And is it just me? Or is BRICS in town? I mean, Sandton is just happening at the moment. This week, the road markings are being painted, the trees are dusted off, light bulbs are being replaced, the army's on the streets, the police is on every corner, traffic lights that haven't been working for months, are suddenly resurrected. They just came on. One day, they're just suddenly working all again. It must be the safest place in the universe. And it feels like the World Cup is back in town. It's just unbelievable. There's enough bodyguards and blue lights to sink a ship in Sandton this week. And it truly is remarkable how when we have guests, people visiting from overseas, it's like having a braai. And when your visitors come, you set up the fence, you put up walls, cameras, laser beams, the whole lot. And then when the visitors go, you dismantle all the walls, all the security, and everyone's left to fend for themselves. I don't know. I don't know what to say. Anyway, we had a jam-packed week this week. Again, I was invited to speak at the Institute of Internal Auditors South Africa annual conference in Sandton, and I think the audience received this keynote very well, and thank you to them for being such fantastic hosts. Then Workshop 17 hosted their 6th birthday with major expansion underway at their Sandton offices, and it's looking really, really good. And then H&M launched a new spring range, and they've also collaborated with some local designers, and they're going to be selling those products through their brand store in Sandton. Then Pick and Pay Clothing, they revealed their new store in Sandton City, bigger, greener, and some new designer ranges that they launched as well. And then also the new Ice store in Sandton City also made its debut, also bigger, with some really, really nice design features as well. All right, coming up on the show this week, I briefly touched on it, but it's time for a brief update from Sandton Central to find out what's new and also to give us a quick update on the BRICS Summit this week. Then she's the new Miss South Africa for 2023, and I get a chance to catch up with her again after clinching the crown last weekend. Stay tuned for that. And finally, if you're planning a trip down to Cape Town, I wrap up the hour with a look at 2 hotels I recently had the pleasure of staying at. This and more is coming up shortly, but time to get the hour underway with our first bit of music right here on the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8.
Promote your brand. Advertise your business.
Our audience could be your next client. Contact the Sandton Times today.
Fitness starts when you pack your bag. It's a promise to yourself to live life well. So, kickstart your journey to summer wellness today with a Virgin Active bag, August membership free, plus access to a world of rewards. Call 0860 Get Fit or visit your nearest club. virginactive.co.za. T's and C's apply.
The best of Sandton and beyond.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour.
This is the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8 with David Tavari and Hot Summer Night featuring 2 Evisa. Another one of those 90s tracks that never gets old, and hopefully this is the start of warmer months to come. It's time to have a look at your headlines for this week. So the 15th BRICS Summit is set to take place at the Sandton Convention Centre this week, and as highlighted, service delivery is through the roof. I'll be chatting a bit more about this in a few minutes. Then this happened last week, I think, but Times Live reported 2 men caught in separate incidents speeding on the N1 freeway were arrested in Sandton and in Midrand by the Gauteng Traffic Police High Speed Unit. They arrested a 26-year-old speedster in Sandton driving a blue BMW M3 coupe. Good times at 23. Well, he hit 275 kilometers per hour in a prescribed 120 kilometer per hour zone. And then another man, a 23-year-old, and he was driving a white Mercedes-Benz, mind you, at 222 kilometers per hour on the N1 in Midrand. And yes, they are facing legal ramifications based on their excessive speeding. And then Alto 234 on the 57th floor of the Leonardo in Sandton. Well, it is the tallest urban bar in Africa, and they've reopened their weekend brunch. So if you're looking for something for a weekend excursion with a serious view, well, let me tell you, this is something to experience, especially if you've got a special occasion or maybe you just want to just treat yourself. This brunch has always been quite popular, and I see they've brought it back online. Let's park the headlines there for this week. If you head in and out of Sandton regularly, you will need to take note of some of the limitations in place on traffic and movement around the 15th BRICS Summit, as well as an expansion of public sector efforts to keep the traffic lights on. I'm joined by Elaine Jack of Sandton Central Management District right after the break.
Connect with the Sandton Times. Email editor@sandtontimes.co.za. The best of talk and music in 1 hour. This is the Sandton Times Hour.
This is the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8 and also available on all good podcast platforms. And as we get the hour going for this week, I thought it was well overdue to do a bit of a check-in on Sandton Central, Africa's richest square mile, as there is quite a bit happening this week in terms of general news, but also some other interesting developments. So I'm thrilled to be joined again by Elaine Jack. She is the manager of the Sandton Central District. And Elaine, it's good to catch up with you again.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Absolutely. Well, Elaine, let's get things going first on all things topical before we get into some of the developments. And we've got BRICS coming up in Sandton. And what is Sandton Central's readiness for this pretty big summit?
BRICS Summit is from the 22nd to the 24th of August. We are working very closely for a good 3 months now with SAPS and all the various governmental departments in getting Sandton ready to host the 15th BRICS Summit, and will be obviously hosted at the Sandton Convention Centre. We will be hosting to a number of heads of states not just from the BRICS countries, but also various heads of states from Africa as well. So we are fiercely excited that we've been nominated to host this prestigious event, one of the venues for this event. We are as ready as we can be. In terms of working, making sure the security of the precinct, as well as all the hotels, preparing for accommodating all the delegates, just in general, making sure the precinct is ready and welcoming for these international delegates arriving for the summit.
Yeah. Well, look, I think it's pretty safe to say it's going to be a pretty busy time in Sandton Central. I think between the hotels being fully occupied and traffic in the area, it's probably going to be one of those where you're going to have to plan your trip in and out of Sandton quite carefully, or sort of make plans.
Yes, so the summit's actually happening at the Sandton Convention Centre. So any of the roads pretty much around the convention centre would be impacted the most. There will be obviously some partial road closures along Maud, West, Alice Lane and 5th Street, to be specific. But obviously anything on the outer skirts of these mentioned roads will be hopefully okay. And obviously, yes, there will be a lot of dignitaries and a lot of escorting of vehicles in and around the precinct. But those four mentioned roads will probably be the most impacted. So just do plan your route around if you are passing through the in Sandton as well. But otherwise, all the rest is business as usual.
Okay, fantastic. Well, look, we'll certainly be putting up updates as they come through the week on the sandtontimes.co.za. So make sure you visit the website as well and check that out. Talking about roads and talking about traffic in Sandton, one of the other big developments is a follow-up to something we spoke about a couple of months ago. Investec came along and, what would you call it, sponsored the traffic lights at the corner of Grayston and Rivonia. And that traffic light adoption sponsorship has now moved on and has grown in Greater Sandton. You've got a couple of more corporates that have now signed up to make sure that the lights are on when the lights are off.
Since the pilot, we've launched it in May this year with Investec, and that obviously brought along a lot of attention, and actually a lot of corporates within Sandton put up their hands to sponsor and adopt an intersection. We have since completed firstly Growth Point and Nedbank and with Sasol, with another 6 more intersections within the precinct now live and adopted. So what happens is that obviously during any load shedding or any power interruption in the precinct, those traffic signals will then be switched on using the power that's being adopted by the property in the adjacent building. So whether it be a solar power, be it UPS, or be it generator power, those traffic signals will then stay on. So we're very happy that we've now got 6 of them online, and also more to come as well. So it's really have moved very quickly. Our partners, JRA, which is Johannesburg Roads Agency, has been really very proactive in getting intersections done from the groundworks as soon as the service level agreements are signed between them and the landlord. But otherwise, I think the support of the corporates and the landlords that are in Sandton that has really come on board on this journey with us.
Is it safe to say that probably some of the biggest intersections in Sandton will now remain on, irrespective of what the load shedding schedule looks like?
Yep, and keeping that traffic moving and making sure that we don't have the interruptions that we have to those spaces. I can tell you where those activated now is Rivonia and Fredman. That's Grayston and 5th. It is Catherine and Pybus. And of recent now, we've just put online now the 2 Discovery-sponsored intersections, which is Catherine and Rivonia, and as well as Rivonia and Empire. So those are the 2 that have just come online yesterday.
Fantastic. Well, there you have it. A quick update on Sandton Central with Elaine Jack, who is the manager of the district, Africa's richest square miles, giving us a quick update there on the upcoming BRICS Summit, as well as the traffic light project that they started with Investec a couple of months ago and is now being rolled out across Sandton Central, which means, at least you're not going to be stuck at these awkward intersections. And you know how as it goes in South Africa, nobody really knows when to drive and when to stop and etc. So at least now, hopefully the green lights will be on and the red lights will be on. And both of those will be adhered to accordingly. We're going to take a quick break and more of the Sandton Times Hour right after this.
Connect with the Sandton Times. Email editor@sandtontimes.co.za.
Back for more?
The Sandton Times Hour continues.
You're listening to the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8 with Ava Max and Kings and Queens, which is a very appropriate song as we go into the second half of the Sandton Times Hour. My name is Alexander Leitner, and you know how this works. If you listen to the show regularly, if you're looking for more details of some of the stuff we discussed, well, you can find it on the show notes on the website sandtontimes.co.za, and there you can find a detailed breakdown of everything we've discussed and so much more in this week's edition. Also, be sure to check out the social media accounts at Sandton Times on whatever platform you're on, and also feel free to engage, get in touch, send your feedback, your comments, your input. All of that is welcome. Well, I'm thrilled to be rejoined. I think she must be one of the most interviewed persons or persona that I've had on this show. We spoke to her a couple of weeks ago. She's back again, but this time she's back with the title. It's Natasha Joubert. She is Miss South Africa 2023. And Natasha, I'm so thrilled to have you on the Sandton Times Hour, but I'm even more thrilled to be introducing you as Miss South Africa 2023.
Really, really thank you for having me. It's been, I think we spoke in June. Why do I believe we spoke in June, or was it end of May? It's always lovely speaking to you. It's, I think, my third time actually.
It could be your third time. It could be your fourth time. I feel like we've spoken quite a few times.
Yes.
It speaks to your determination in this particular field of pageantry. I mean, I know you went to Miss Universe, you entered Miss South Africa before, but we're going to get into all of that shortly. Natasha, I know you've been asked how you feel and who you've spoken to and all these things, and I'm not necessarily going to try and evoke all those responses again. It has been some time now that you've managed to, sort of the dust has settled and you've managed to kind of hopefully find your feet a bit. Where to from here? Because I think it's so often that we find that we've got a goal and we get to that goal and suddenly we're there. And now what? Now you got what you wanted. What do you do now?
So I don't think I've achieved fully what I wanted yet. I waited for, I didn't wait for the platform, but now I know I can make whatever I started so much bigger. So the plan of action is to enroll all those bursaries. That's going to be the first thing after Media Week that we will discuss and how we want to implement it. I think I might have a little bit of a homecoming, which would be cool. But I think when we do the bursary program, I do want to make it as big as possible.
Yeah.
Really, that's going to be the goal. I don't think there's going to be a certain limit. Like if I can push that limit constantly, that's what I'm going to do. Other than that, I think I just need to sit down, like you said, find my feet, sit with the organization and really discuss, what's the plan of action? What's important to me this year? What's things that I can realistically implement? Because I'm a very logical person. I don't only want to speak on matters. Yes, I also do that, but I really want to implement solutions. I really want to get people together, organizations, brands together, wherever they can help.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great cause. Education is so important in the future of South Africa, and especially good quality education and also education in fields that we really need in the country. But I want to quickly take a step back to the night itself. I mean, you looked fabulous. You sounded fabulous. You'd been down this road before. You'd done this before. I mean, you looked very comfortable in all of it. And as we know from a lot of the interviews you've done, a lot of the speeches you've given, you did prepare yourself quite extensively for this. And it kind of felt a little bit like 2019. When the Springboks went onto that final game and we kind of knew that they were going to win this. I mean, it was like one of those things where it was just a matter of watching 90 minutes unfold and they were going to take it. And there's a certain way that you arrive at a place when you have this feeling that you've got everything together. Is that what you felt like on the evening, or did you feel uneasy? Was there still a high chance that you'd missed something?
I'm gonna tell you the full on morning of experience up until the crowning moment. So I woke up the crowning morning specifically, and I was very emotional, and I couldn't understand why, because it wasn't emotions of fear or not knowing what's going to happen. It was really just emotions of, after 3 years, tonight I'm getting the answers I've had questions to for so long. Because in the past, I've been very close, but I've never been the one. And so this was a very defining moment for me. But when I stepped on stage, were you there? Were you at the final night?
I actually wasn't, Natasha. I was actually at home watching it
I
very
wish you
comfortably
were.
from
I
home.
wish you were. I really
But
wish you were, because
yeah,
the audience in person, honestly, that's what carried me through the night. Because my performance on final night, like you said, I really did feel like I had everything together, but it was simply because of the support and the screaming from the crowd that I heard, like that energy that I felt. It just, I got off after opening scene, which it was insane. It was insane. I got off stage and I said, okay, now we're doing the top 7 segment. We're doing the mission statements. You can't disappoint these people that's sitting here in the crowd, busy cheering you on. And I think the first time when I was done speaking about the top 7, from there, I was comfortable. I was like, I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to be so present. And also I was so calm, cool, and collected. Whenever I had to speak, I knew what I wanted to say. I knew my why. I knew how I wanted to express it. And honestly, it was the perfect night for me. It truly was.
yeah, yeah.
There
And that,
wasn't one thing in the show where I was like, I didn't love that.
yeah.
Everything. Okay, wow. I don't know if people saw it on TV because it didn't show. That part in the bikini, round, I wore the green tassels. I walked off stage and I had to stay on stage. So I ran back on the stairs before the all camera showed the whole top 7, and I was like, Natasha, what did you just do? And obviously the whole arena saw that, so that was pretty funny.
Well, I certainly didn't see it on TV, that's for sure. I don't know if anyone saw it in the arena, but I didn't
I'm giving
see
you
it.
all the insights.
That's great, the juicy bits. But I mean, it's interesting, some of the observations you make, because obviously the lived experience that you go through on stage, and obviously what people see on TV, and also kind of what people sort of anticipate and kind of go through. I must say, your fellow top 7, top 5, top 3, they were notable contestants. I mean, at one point I was kind of sitting going, wow, this is a really tough year to have to compete for Miss South
Yes.
Africa. But what you do find is, and this is almost like a bit of a game of golf or any major sports event, is that it becomes a mental experience. It's now who can keep
Yes.
their mind on track, who can focus, and it's like you're an athlete. I mean, you could be a beauty athlete, if you want to call it that, or a pageant athlete. I mean, that's, I think, that made the difference, Natasha. And I think it was that you managed to keep it all together, channel your energy, and kind of just bring it across the line. And I think that's eventually what maybe pulled you through.
Like, I really do appreciate you pointing that out, because mentally, that's one thing that I felt not costed me, because just it was a destiny thing as well. But in 2020, mentally, I was so in my head about everything. I constantly overthought. I overthought the entire time. It was thinking about this and that and external factors, where now, having gone through so many therapy sessions, having had life coaching, it wasn't to come back to Miss South Africa necessarily. It was just to grow as a woman and work through emotions and disappointments of the past, not knowing how much that mental state helped me. So, yeah, that's the thing. It mentally, you know what? Yes, you are right. That's something that did help. It did help, 100%.
Did 2020 take it out of you completely? I mean, was it a really tough event to get through, and was it not what you had expected it to be once you'd entered and obviously come out the other side?
It was tough. And I'm glad you're asking this, because obviously I get to compare it to my year of 2020. But I remember back in 2020, it was COVID. So everything was almost pre-recorded. There wasn't a lot of like cameras on us, where this new journey of Crown Chasers was so challenging, but also very insightful. I think we all got to know ourselves at a different level. You were challenged every single 3-4 days. I freaked out. Let me just quickly tell you. I freaked out when we had to do this TED Talk. I was going through all these emotions of, what am I going to say for 5 minutes? Why would people want to listen to my story? And I think when I was done with the TED Talk, I just knew I was so ready for this job. And I think the results really showed. But then I also love this factor of showing South Africa more of the goals. Because now sitting in the arena or watching on TV the final night, you almost know this person. Like you know this girl's personality, you know her strong points, you know her weaknesses, you know what you can expect in your Miss South Africa. So I loved that new parts of Miss South Africa. But then, yes, it was the most challenging thing I've ever done in my entire life. And that's something I also said on Crown Chasers. I was like, this is the hardest thing I've ever had to do. There was cameras constantly waiting around a lot because now it's filming, you need to perfect it. Where final week almost felt a lot easier.
Yeah.
Yeah, final week felt amazing. It was fun. A lot of nerves for final nights, a lot. But when I got on stage, everything was gone. I really can't explain it. And I never knew, I spoke to Demi when I went to Miss Universe, obviously. And I asked her, I was like, when you stood there, like, what was your emotions before they screamed out your name? And she was like, she was so calm and content. And I could not understand. I was like, how? You are standing in the top 2 of Miss Universe. Like, how do you feel that way? And that's exactly the emotion I felt on Miss South Africa. I was so content. It's weird. It's an out of body experience. I wish I could put it in words. Like, it almost felt like I knew, even if I win or if I don't win, I was so happy with everything I've done, coming back, everything I've done.
Incredible. I mean, it's amazing to have that kind of, to be that content about a situation.
Yes.
I mean, you're talking about Demi Lee, and I had a similar conversation with Rolene Strauss, because she was also a second-time winner, came back to take Miss South Africa, came back to take Miss World, and you guys share a very, very similar journey up until I think the year, because she also came back 3 years after she'd initially not made Miss South Africa to the crown. Have you guys been chatting at all?
Yes. Yes, so Demi did help me quite a lot, not in terms of anything physical, but more just support wise. She checked in on me, just asking is there anything she can help with. She gave me some words of encouragement, and just when I asked her like what was things that she did to keep herself calm. That was more the questions I asked her and where she helped me. It was never really like show me how you walk or turn or what she thinks I should wear. It was really just more the mental state and like how she got herself to really fully show up as herself that night, because I felt like back in 2020 I was so anxious the entire evening. I didn't keep myself calm. My heart rate was through the roof, where when I had to speak on stage on Sunday, I knew there was 3 speaking rounds. And I know for South Africa, what you say is very important. Like, yes, walking, it's very nice. But like when you speak, people want to hear something where they feel represented. And when I went up for top 7, I was calm. And I almost feel like that's where I knew. I was like, I really do feel like it's mine. I really do feel like it's mine. When I was called in the top 3 and the crowd just, I would forever be in debt to South Africa. That's how I feel.
Yeah. I mean, it was great to see so many people, different ages, races, religions. I mean, really across the board, like the real Rainbow Nation, kind of really rallying behind your title, and I hope it continues that way. But I think also one of the other things that's become quite evident is that South Africans have latched on to your Miss South Africa title as an opportunity to also raise every possible issue that South Africa has at the moment. I mean, I'm not short of you filling potholes or fixing Eskom or elections or whatever else is coming our way. It's sort of in a leadership void. Here's somebody who could maybe lead us in some direction. And I think you're going to be inundated with people asking you to step into all kinds of different challenges that we have in South Africa. I know one question you had been asked was about the elections, and it was also a question that came up during the round. And I know I'd heard your answer to this before, but I wanted to sort of get you to reiterate this question again in terms of your take on the elections coming up in 2024.
Yes. So I want to simplify it really by saying you can't complain if you don't vote. There is many social issues that we face, but I feel like people are so easy to voice them, like load shedding, or like you said, the potholes, or we don't get it fair healthcare. But do you actually show up that one day and vote? So I really, really do encourage everyone to vote and to think a little bit more clearly on the actions that has been taken and what you want to see. And if you want to see a notable difference in this country, we're going to have to show up for elections. So that's, we don't have to overcomplicate that way of voting, if I can simplify it.
Absolutely. Register, be there, vote, and make a change. Because if you're not there, nothing's going to happen. So you've made the decision not to go to Miss World or Miss Universe. Why is that?
I'm Miss Supranational and Miss Universe.
Oh.
So I was very clear from the start that I came back to be Miss South Africa, and I think people just did not want to listen. It's like everyone was trying to kind of be blind to how important it is to be a Miss South Africa, because we've glamorized it over the past few years in terms of, I'm saying the public glamorized it, only focusing on the hype of going to internationals, because it is glamorous. It's nice. You dress up, like we compete. We're standing together as a country, which is incredible. But what about the job as Miss South Africa? Like, what about what our people need here? And I really did say I want to serve my country, and I meant it. I really meant it. So the goal for me was never to be Miss Universe or be Miss Supranational. Like, yes, at the time when I had to go to Miss Universe, I was like, yes, I was not Miss South Africa. Maybe I was destined to be Miss Universe. And yeah, now I just said clearly, like, I'm going to devote myself for this entire year to my South Africans. I'll go to El Salvador to Miss Universe to support Bryony, but I want to be Miss South Africa. And I really hope people are hearing me loud and clear when I say this is a very, very important platform and job. I take it very seriously. And yeah, I'm really excited, and I'll be rooting for whoever represents us on stage.
Tremendous. Well, there you have it. Natasha Joubert, she's Miss South Africa 2023. May you have a splendid year. May you have a constructive year, and may it be all that you had wished for. And thank you so much for making the time to be on the Sandton Times Hour.
Really, really thank you always for inviting me. I really appreciate it.
Amazing. We're going to take a quick musical break, and then we're going to wrap it all up right after this.
Did you know that 1 in 5 girls drop out of school when they reach puberty because they don't have the means to manage their monthly menstruation? Rudder MyPad is a girl's solution to staying in school. It's easy to use, cost-effective, with unique and very cool designs. Rudder MyPad is sustainable and durable with a lifespan up to 5 years. Visit rudder.co.za to sponsor a girl, a school, or to place an order. Empowering young women, my choice, my future, my life. MyPad.
Follow the Sandton Times on social media.
At Sandton Times.
This is the Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8 with Tina Turner and Simply the Best. As we have a few minutes left of the hour, I promised to touch on 2 hotels I had the pleasure of visiting in Cape Town during a recent visit that I did. And the first one is a hotel called the Winchester Hotel. The building's been around for quite some time. It's a well-established building in Cape Town, but it's been refurbished and brought back to life and in a very gorgeous way. It's got sort of this Art Deco feel. Everything's black and white, these black and white tiles. But then it's got these beautiful flower creepers that go up the sides of the internal courtyard that give the entire hotel such character. And it is a beautiful place. It's sort of located right there in a prime position in Sea Point. And it is truly beautifully put together. It's got all the old features that the building had. I believe they've added on an additional floor on the top of the building, so they've made it a little bit higher. But as for the rest of it, you can still see some of the architecture of yesteryear, but married beautifully with some new touches. And they've brought in a very tasteful new feel to the hotel. It's got a lovely bar. It's got a lovely restaurant where you can have breakfast as well. And it's also got a swimming pool, which whilst I was down there in the winter months is not probably the place you want to jump into. But I think in the summer months, it's absolutely gorgeous. It's got some incredible rooms, each one with their own very unique character. And they've managed to keep these fantastic elements of the hotel as part of the redesign. And I encourage you to go check out the Winchester Hotel when you're down in Cape Town. And then the other hotel that I also had the pleasure of checking in at is the Taj Hotel in Cape Town, which is in a completely different part of town. It's right opposite the Houses of Parliament, which is a really interesting spot to be in. And if you ever get a chance to stay there, I encourage you to take a walk through the gardens of Parliament. It is really just a special walk, especially early in the morning if you want to just get a little bit of exercise in. But the Taj Cape Town is actually the old Reserve Bank building. So once again, a heritage building with the most incredible pieces of history sort of shining through at different points in the hotel. If you're in the lobby, if you're in the restaurant, if you're in the bar area, you can kind of see this incredible marble and the incredible effort that went into building this building when it was still the Reserve Bank. And once again, just in a really great location. Top-notch luxury in terms of the hotel itself. It's also got a fantastic spa. So if you enjoy going to a spa when you're staying at a hotel, go check out the spa as well. The most incredible views wherever you're in the hotel. I mean, if you enjoy a sea view, that's great. But if you enjoy a view of Table Mountain, and especially Cape Town summer months, when you've got sunshine and blue skies, that view of Parliament and Table Mountain when you look out of your window is quite something. And it's quite envious when you do send it to people overseas. Because they just always say, you know what, you guys have got the most incredible country and the most beautiful nature and city views. But the Taj is also well known for its restaurant downstairs called the Bombay Brasserie. And it's probably one of the best Indian restaurants in Cape Town. It's a beautiful space with a great menu, a nice variety. But what they've also done is they've also brought in some really South African flavors as well. So you'll find a couple of very South African tastes and dishes that come through on the menu as well, which is something that they've added recently. Even though the kitchen is very, very international. I mean, they've brought out proper Indian chefs to prepare a lot of the dishes, and I think that's why they've also done such a great job and being so well known for those Indian dishes. But what's great is that they've now brought in that sort of South African flavor as well, and I think that's what makes it work. So check out those two hotels next time you're down in Cape Town. If you're looking for something different and something new to check out, the Winchester Hotel and the Taj Cape Town. Two very different properties, but definitely worth a stay. And that's it for another Sandton Times Hour on Mix 93.8, and is always available on all good podcast platforms. If you want to get in touch, you can email editor@sandtontimes.co.za or connect on social media @Sandton Times, or visit the website www.sandtontimes.co.za, and feel free to send through your questions, your comments, your feedback, your input, your stories. All of those are always welcome. Thank you to all the guests who made time to be on the show this week, as well as Vincenzo. Thank you for doing all the great things that you do every single week, and also the Sandton Times team, as well as everyone on Mix 93.8. Thank you for listening, and let's connect again next week.